The old house smelled like dust, forgotten memories, and a life I thought I understood. It had been 6 months since my husband Ethan passed away. 6 months since my world cracked open. I wasn't ready to visit the country house he inherited from his father. The house he visited alone. The house he never let me explore. The house he always said was too old, too messy, nothing important there. But today, something pulled me inside. I pushed open the creaking wooden door. The room swallowed me with its cold silence. Cobwebs clung to corners, and old furniture stood like ghosts frozen in time. My footsteps echoed as I walked deeper into the house. Every corner felt like it was holding a secret Ethan never shared with me. I kept telling myself I was here to sort paperwork, to finally close this chapter. But the truth was, I came here because something in my heart said there was more. Something he never told me. I headed to the study room, the one he always kept locked. But now I had the key. My hands trembled slightly as I unlocked the door. It swung open with a soft groan. Inside, dust danced in the sunlight, landing over piles of books, boxes, and old travel souvenirs. Travel. Ethan hated traveling, so why were there souvenirs? I stepped over an old rug and began opening drawers, cabinets, boxes. Anything that could tell me who my husband really was. Then, in a drawer near the old desk, something shiny caught my eye. A small envelope, neatly sealed, placed carefully like it was important. My heartbeat picked up. The envelope had my name on it. Amelia. My fingers froze on the paper. Why would Ethan leave a letter for me in a house he said was meaningless? I opened it. Inside wasn't a letter. It was a plane ticket, a one-way ticket. To London, dated 2 months before he died. My stomach dropped. He never told me he planned to go to London. He never mentioned London. In fact, he always insisted he hated big cities. So why a one-way ticket? My breath grew uneven as I held the ticket closer. My thoughts spiraled. Was he leaving me? Was he planning something? Was he hiding something? Or someone? A soft thud behind me made me jump. A book had slid off the shelf and fallen open on the floor. I bent down to pick it up and froze again. Inside the book there was a photo of Ethan in London, standing near the Thames, smiling. A smile I hadn't seen in years. The date stamped on the back was from last year, when he told me he was on a business trip in Toronto. But he wasn't. He was in London. My hands trembled as I examined the picture. A shadow of a woman appeared beside him, only half visible, but her hand was on Ethan's shoulder. My chest tightened. He wasn't alone. Before I could process the shock, I noticed something else. A notebook beside the bookcase. A journal. I opened it, and suddenly everything felt wrong. The first page read, London, Phase 1. Make sure she never finds out. My breath caught. I kept reading. If Amelia discovers the truth before I'm ready, everything will fall apart. My vision blurred with confusion. What truth? I flipped more pages, sketches, notes, hidden addresses, appointments, all pointing to London. But one line stood out. Meet her again. But keep Amelia safe. She must never be involved. I felt a chill crawl up my spine. Who was she? My heart hammered against my ribs as I flipped through page after page. His handwriting grew messier, rushed, desperate. Then I found the final entry, dated 1 week before he died. I'm running out of time. If anything happens to me, she will come for Amelia. I must stop her first. The book slipped from my fingers. This wasn't about an affair. This wasn't about secrets of love. This wasn't about running away. This was something else entirely. Something dangerous. Someone dangerous. My mind screamed questions I couldn't answer. Who was the woman in London? Why did Ethan lie? What was he protecting me from? What did he mean she would come for me? Why was he keeping all this hidden? My phone buzzed suddenly, snapping me back to reality. A message from an unknown number. You found the ticket, didn't you? My heart stopped. I stared at the screen, frozen. Another message followed instantly. We need to talk before it's too late. My hands shook uncontrollably. And then, the third message. Ethan didn't die the way you think. I gasped, stepping backward, almost tripping over the rug. Whoever this was, they knew about the ticket. They knew I was in the house. They knew the truth Ethan hid. A fourth message appeared. Don't trust anyone, not even the police. Meet me where Ethan planned to go. And finally, a fifth message. London. The phone slipped from my hands, landing on the dusty floor. Whatever I thought I knew about my husband was a lie, and the truth, the one Ethan died to protect, was waiting for me thousands of miles away. In London, I inhaled shakily. One decision, one chance, one choice: follow the ticket or walk away. I closed my eyes and made my choice. I sat on the dusty wooden floor of that abandoned house, clutching the London ticket like it was a lifeline or a curse. My fingers trembled. My breath came in short, uneven waves. Nothing made sense. My husband Daniel had promised me transparency. He had promised honesty. He had promised that the reason he left was personal space and stress. He said he needed time to think, but time to think didn't include a ticket to London booked 3 days before he left me. The ticket was dated for next week, meaning he was planning to go even now, while I was at home wondering if our marriage was collapsing. I stared at it again. Gate 17, departure, 6:40 p.m. What was in London? Who was in London? My heart whispered the answer I didn't want to consider. Someone else. Then I noticed something else. The name printed on the ticket, Daniel Clark. But underneath, in smaller letters, I saw an additional line. Guest allowance. 1 companion, confirmed. I nearly dropped the paper. A companion. He had booked 2 seats. Suddenly the house felt colder. I stood up, ticket shaking in my hand, and walked through the corridor again. I needed more answers, something, anything, to explain what this meant. I entered what used to be Daniel's childhood bedroom. Dust covered the shelves. Old toys sat lifeless, frozen in time. A small wooden desk stood in the corner, drawers half open. Something inside one of them glinted faintly. I approached carefully and opened the drawer fully. Inside was a silver locket. Not mine, definitely not. I picked it up. It was warm, as if someone had touched it recently. My pulse hammered in my ears as I pressed the tiny clasp and opened it. Inside was a picture of Daniel and a woman I had never seen before. They were standing close, smiling intimately, in front of a landmark I recognized instantly, the Tower Bridge. London. My stomach twisted. This wasn't new. They had been there before. My husband had been to London, with her. The edges of my vision blurred. My lungs forgot how to work. I felt as though the ground was disappearing beneath me. Mom? The voice jolted me back to reality. My son, Noah, stood in the doorway rubbing his eyes. I had brought him with me to this old house because I didn't want to leave him alone while I searched. I forced a weak smile and closed the locket quickly. Hey, sweetheart. I tried to steady my voice. Did you finish your snack? He nodded, then looked at the object in my hand with curiosity. What's that? A necklace. It's nothing important. He blinked. Mom, are you crying? I wiped my cheek, startled. I hadn't even realized tears were falling. Just dust in my eyes, I lied. Noah walked closer and took my hand. Daddy used to come here a lot. That made me freeze. What do you mean? Before he left, Noah said innocently, he came here at night. I saw him once when he thought I was sleeping. My heart stumbled. Daniel coming here at night. To this house? To hide things? I crouched to meet my son's eyes. Did he tell you why he came? Noah shook his head. No, but one night I heard him talking to someone. A lady. What lady? My voice was barely a whisper. I don't know, I couldn't hear well. But she said, we'll meet there again. My blood turned to ice. London. 2 tickets, a secret woman, and a promise to meet again. I swallowed the rising panic. Thank you for telling me, sweetheart. He nodded and wandered back to the living room. I inhaled deeply to regain control, then looked back at the locket. My hands curled into fists. If Daniel was going to London with her, if he had been doing this behind my back, I would uncover everything. I put the locket into my pocket, grabbed the ticket, and searched the dresser again. Behind a stack of old letters and a torn photograph, I found a sealed envelope with Daniel's handwriting. My breath caught. It was addressed to me. With shaking fingers, I sat on the dusty bed and opened it carefully, unfolding a thick sheet of paper. Inside, Daniel had written, "If you're reading this, it means you found the ticket and the locket. I didn't want you to discover things this way, but you deserve the truth." My vision tunneled, but I forced myself to continue reading. I never meant to leave you without an explanation. There are things happening that I couldn't tell you, things about my past in London, things I was trying to protect you from. My heart pounded louder. The woman in the photo, she isn't who you think she is. I frowned. Then who was she? I planned to tell you everything when I returned. But if you found this letter, it means the situation has changed. I flipped the page, desperate. But the second page wasn't a continuation. It was a plain boarding pass. Not for Daniel, not for the mysterious woman. It had my name on it, a ticket, to London, dated the exact same day as his. I stared at it in disbelief. Why didn't he tell me? Why hide this? Why bring a secret woman into this? My head spun as I realized something even more shocking. The boarding pass had a red stamp on it. Important. Meet contact upon arrival. Contact? Who? Suddenly, footsteps creaked outside the house. Slow, heavy. Approaching, my blood froze. Noah's voice echoed through the hall. Mom? Someone's outside. I grabbed his hand instantly. Whoever it was. They weren't here by accident. I tucked the letter and both tickets into my bag, held Noah close, and slipped behind the old wardrobe just as the front door creaked open. A voice I didn't recognize spoke softly. Check every room. She must not leave with the documents. My breath stopped. They were looking for me. And they knew about the documents. A chill ran down my spine as Noah pressed closer, trembling. My husband hadn't just left secrets behind. He had left danger. Noah's tiny fingers curled into my shirt as we crouched behind the old wardrobe, barely breathing. The footsteps inside the house were deliberate, slow, heavy, cautious. Whoever they weren't just wandering. They were searching. My pulse hammered so loudly I was terrified they could hear it. Through a thin crack in the wooden wardrobe, I saw a man step into the room. Broad shoulders, dark jacket, gloves. He scanned the area with sharp eyes like he was trained. Military? Security? Or something worse? A second man entered behind him. Her car is outside. She's here, he said, my stomach twisted. They were watching my movements. The first man's voice was cold, controlled. Check the drawers. The envelope should be here. The boss wants it before tonight. The boss envelope. Documents. They were after the same things I had just found. I tightened my grip around my son's waist, silently pleading for him not to make a sound. Noah whispered so softly I almost didn't hear. Mom, are they bad guys? I kissed his head. Stay quiet, I mouthed. The second man opened drawers, tossing old papers, books, and broken toys onto the floor. His frustration grew. It's not here. Someone's already taken it. The first man clenched his jaw. Then she took it, and she won't get far. They started moving toward the hallway. I didn't wait. This was our only chance. I grabbed Noah's hand and whispered, Stay behind me. Don't let go. We crept toward the back of the room while their footsteps moved in the opposite direction. The window near the old desk was half open from years of neglect. I pushed it silently and prayed it wouldn't squeak. By some miracle, it didn't. I lifted Noah out first, then climbed through myself. As soon as my feet hit the ground outside, I grabbed his hand and ran behind the house, the tall weeds brushing against our legs. Where are we going? Noah asked breathlessly. To the car, quickly. We sprinted through the overgrown yard, staying low until the rusted gate came into view. Just a few more steps. The front door of the house slammed open. Hey! A voice roared. They had seen us. Run! I cried. Noah and I bolted toward the car. My keys shook in my hand, slick with sweat. I slammed them into the lock, yanked the door open, and shoved Noah into the back seat. I jumped into the driver's seat, turned the key. The engine sputtered. Then, it died. My heart stopped. No. I begged the car, turning the key again. The men were running toward us. Finally, the engine roared. I slammed the accelerator. The tires screeched violently, dirt flying. The car lurched forward just as one of the men reached for the door handle. We shot down the abandoned road, my hands gripping the wheels so tight they hurt. Noah was crying softly. Mom, what's happening? Why are they chasing us? I swallowed hard. I couldn't lie anymore. There are things your dad didn't tell us. And now, we need to be careful. We drove for miles until we reached a gas station far from the old house. I parked behind the building, hidden from the highway. My breathing finally slowed, but my mind was a storm. Who were those men? What documents were they after? And why was Daniel involved? I looked at the envelope again, my hands trembling. The first page of Daniel's letter replayed in my mind. There are things happening that I couldn't tell you. Things about my past in London. What past? What had he done? I reached into the envelope, pulling out the rest of the papers. This time, I noticed something I had missed in the chaos. There was a photograph, a security camera still. It showed Daniel in an airport, standing next to a woman. The same woman from the locket. But this time, she wasn't smiling. She looked terrified. And Daniel wasn't holding her hand. He was pulling her by the arm. My breath hitched. Another paper slipped out. A printed email. Subject, urgent. Do not let her board alone. From L. Mason to Operative Clark, Operative Clark. Operative, my blood ran cold. My husband wasn't just hiding an affair. He was hiding an identity. He worked for someone, some organization. And now, they were after me. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to. I pressed it to my ear. A distorted voice spoke. Stop running. You have something that doesn't belong to you. My heart dropped. Before I could respond, the voice added, and if you don't bring it to us, your husband will die. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my breath frozen in my chest. Daniel was alive? Alive and in danger? Noah looked up at me with wide, fearful eyes. Is Daddy okay? My throat tightened. I don't know, sweetheart, but I intended to find out. I opened the envelope again and realized the London boarding pass with my name had a scribbled note at the bottom. If things go wrong, trust only one person. Ask for Aiden Cross. Aiden Cross? Who was he? And why was Daniel sending me to London to find him? Before I could process anything more, Noah tugged my sleeve. Mom, look. In the gas station's reflection window behind us, I saw them. A dark SUV had pulled into the parking lot. 2 men stepped out, the same men. They had found us, and they were walking straight toward the car. I grabbed Noah's hand. Hold on tight. This wasn't running anymore. This was survival. My hands gripped the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. Noah clutched his seatbelt, eyes wide with terror. The SUV was following us, headlights cutting through the dark night like knives. I had no choice. I had to get us to the airport. I had to get to London. I drove through the night, navigating back roads to avoid highways. Every turn, every stoplight made my heart leap. I didn't know who these men were, only that they wanted the envelope, and that somehow Daniel was the reason. By 4 a.m., I reached the small regional airport. I parked in a shadowed lot, breathing in the crisp air. My chest ached, my hands shook, and my mind raced. Noah whispered, Mom, what's going to happen? I kissed his forehead. We're going to see Daddy. That's all that matters, I promise. We ran inside, the envelope clutched tightly in my hand. The boarding pass to London burned a hole in my pocket. Security was a blur. People moved slowly, unaware of the danger pressing against us. Finally, we reached the gate. My ticket said, Gate 17, departure 6:40 a.m. I had less than 2 hours to figure out how to survive and find answers. As we waited near the gate, my phone buzzed again. Another unknown number. My stomach dropped. I answered. A low, calm voice spoke. Ms. Amelia Clark, you have what we need. The moment you step on that plane, your husband's life will depend on you. What do you mean? I asked, my voice shaking. You must find Aiden Cross. Only he can tell you what Daniel was hiding. Only he can protect you both. But you have little time. Don't trust anyone else. Not even the airline staff. Not even the captain. My heart raced. Where do I find him? The voice paused. He will meet you at your arrival. London Hammersmith. Be ready. And then the line went dead. I stared at Noah, speechless. My son's small hand slipped into mine. Mom, I'm scared. I know, I whispered. But we have to be brave. The flight boarded in silence. People moved around us, oblivious to the storm we carried inside. I placed Noah in the window seat, my body shielding him. The seatbelt clicked into place, and I breathed deeply. As the plane lifted, the city lights of my hometown disappeared beneath us, replaced by endless clouds. London awaited. I reviewed the envelope again. Daniel's letter, the locket, the boarding pass, all of it. His words replayed in my head. If things go wrong, trust only one person. Ask for Aiden Cross. Who was Aiden Cross? Friend, colleague? Stranger? I didn't know, but he was our only chance. Hours passed. Sleep was impossible. My mind kept running through possibilities. What if Daniel was being held somewhere? What if the men in the SUV were more dangerous than I imagined? What if this was a trap? Noah fell asleep, exhausted, leaning against my shoulder. I held him close, promising silently I would protect him no matter what. Finally, the plane began its descent into London. I stared out the window as the skyline came into view. Towering buildings, glowing streets, endless possibilities, and danger lurking in every shadow. We landed safely, but the real challenge had just begun. Customs were chaotic, but I kept my composure. The envelope clutched against my chest was safe, for now. Outside the airport, a black cab waited, driver's eyes fixed on me. There was no note, no introduction, only a nod when I approached. "Go," the driver said. Something in his tone told me he wasn't just any cab driver. He knew why I was here. We drove through the busy streets of London, winding past neighborhoods I didn't recognize. I clutched Noah's hand tightly, watching people pass by, aware that one wrong look could mean disaster. Finally, the cab stopped in front of an unassuming building in Hammersmith. "Here," the driver said. "He'll meet you inside." I took a deep breath, nodded, and stepped out. Noah gripped my hand tightly. My heart was in my throat. Inside, the building was dimly lit. A man emerged from the shadows, tall, lean, with sharp eyes that seemed to see everything. "You must be Amelia," he said. His voice was calm, confident. "I'm Aiden Cross. I've been expecting you." I froze. "You know about my husband?" He nodded slowly. "I know more than you think. And we don't have much time." I swallowed hard. "Daniel, is he safe?" Aiden's eyes darkened. "He's alive, for now, but the people chasing you are dangerous. They will not stop until they have the documents he left behind and the information he protected his entire life." I felt a chill crawl over me. Why would he protect something like this? Aiden motioned for us to follow him. "Because the moment you touch it, the truth will change everything you thought you knew. And right now that truth is the only thing that can save him." I nodded, determination rising. "I'll do whatever it takes." Aiden smiled faintly. "Good. Because in London, nothing is as it seems. And everyone has a role to play. Some of them aren't who they pretend to be." As we moved deeper into the building, I felt Noah's tiny hand squeeze mine. I realized something vital. Whatever waited for us in London, we weren't going in blind. And for the first time, I felt a flicker of hope. But that flicker was fragile, because danger was everywhere, and Daniel's secret wasn't the only thing I had to uncover. And in London, the shadows always watched. Aiden led us through a narrow corridor, the walls dimly lit by flickering lights. Each step echoed in my chest like a drumbeat of warning. Noah clung to my hand, his small fingers trembling, and I held him tightly, promising silently I would protect him at all costs. Finally, we entered a small room. A desk, a laptop, and a single chair were all that stood in the center. Aiden gestured for me to sit. "This is where we start," he said. His eyes met mine. "Everything you think you know about your husband is incomplete." I swallowed hard. "Incomplete? What do you mean?" He pulled a file from the desk and laid it in front of me. I glanced at it. Photographs, handwritten notes, even maps with strange markings and names I didn't recognize. My stomach churned. "Daniel," Aiden began, "wasn't just an ordinary man. He was part of an intelligence operation, one so secret, so dangerous, that even his closest friends didn't know." My breath caught. "Operation?" "Yes," Aiden said. "He was protecting information that could destabilize governments, ruin lives, and put innocent people in harm's way. And the woman in the photographs, she wasn't his lover. She was a key witness, someone he was protecting." I stared at the images. The woman's face, the one I thought was part of a betrayal, looked frightened, vulnerable, and scared. My mind raced. "So, he wasn't cheating?" Aiden shook his head. "No. Daniel risked everything to keep her safe, including you. That's why he left the documents behind, the ones in the envelope you have. If they fall into the wrong hands." He let the words hang in the air. "Everything ends." I felt a chill crawl over me. The men in the SUV, the messages, the chase, the London ticket, it was all connected. "He's alive," I whispered. "But why didn't he tell me any of this?" Aiden's eyes softened slightly. "Because if you knew, you would have been in danger from the beginning. Daniel loves you. He wanted to keep you safe, and you were right. Only by following the ticket could you uncover the truth and protect him in return." Noah tugged on my sleeve. "Mom, will Daddy be okay?" I nodded, though uncertainty gnawed at me. I promise, Noah, we're going to find him. Aiden handed me a phone. This is secure. You'll contact Daniel once you're ready. But first, there's a meeting you must attend. A safe house. Coordinates are already in the device. I glanced at Noah. He nodded. I'm ready, he said. As we left the building and stepped into the streets of London, a city full of shadows and hidden corners, I realized the enormity of what I was doing. I wasn't just chasing a man I loved. I was stepping into a world I didn't understand, a world of spies, secrets, and danger. We reached a nondescript black car waiting in an alley. Aiden opened the door and ushered us inside. The engine roared, and we sped through London's streets, turning corners sharply, narrowly avoiding the chaos of morning traffic. Finally, we arrived at the safe house, a small, unassuming townhouse tucked away in a quiet neighborhood. Aiden led us inside. This is where you'll stay for now, he said. Daniel's location is compromised. He cannot move until you understand the full scope of what's happening. And the longer you wait, the more dangerous it becomes. I followed him inside, clutching the envelope and the boarding pass. I opened the envelope again, spreading the documents across the table. There were letters Daniel had written, some unfinished, some urgent. Each word revealed the extent of the secret life he had led. Maps with locations, names of people, coded instructions, all pointing towards something bigger than I had ever imagined. And then I saw it. A letter addressed directly to me. Daniel's handwriting, shaky and urgent. Amelia, if you are reading this, it means I could not reach you in time. The people after me are relentless. My love for you and Noah is everything. Trust Aiden Cross. Follow the instructions. And please forgive me for everything I could not explain. Tears filled my eyes. The man I thought I knew, the husband I had loved, argued with, and feared losing, had carried a burden far heavier than I could comprehend. Noah leaned against me, whispering, "Mom, he's okay?" I held him tightly. "I hope so, sweetheart, I hope so." Then Aiden spoke again. "Tomorrow you will make contact with him. But tonight, you rest, you plan, and you prepare. The enemies are not gone. They are closer than you think." I nodded, placing my hand on the envelope, feeling the weight of Daniel's secret, the lives intertwined with his, and the danger we had stepped into. London was just the beginning, and the truth, the shocking truth, was waiting for us in the shadows. The safe house was quiet, but the air was thick with tension. I sat at the table, the envelope of Daniel's documents spread before me, and Noah slept in the corner, exhausted from the journey and the fear. Every sound outside made me jump. Every shadow made me tense. London had never felt more alive, or more dangerous. Aiden spoke softly. "Tomorrow you will see him. But first, you need to understand what you're holding." I nodded. "I've read the documents. But I still don't understand why he couldn't tell me." "Because," Aiden said slowly, "the moment he did, he put you and Noah in danger. The people after him, they are organized, ruthless. They have eyes everywhere. And Daniel was protecting you from them all." I felt my chest tighten. "So, he left clues. He left a way for me to find him safely." Aiden nodded. "Exactly. And now it's time to complete the puzzle. There's a location marked here," he said, pointing to a map of central London, "where he will be waiting. But it's heavily monitored. You cannot go alone." I clenched my fists. "Then I'm not going alone." Aiden gave me a small approving nod. "Good. Because this is where courage meets intelligence. You will see the truth. Everything Daniel sacrificed to protect you and Noah." The next morning, we left the safe house, the city waking around us. I felt the weight of every decision I had made. Every turn, every risk, every step had led me here. Noah held my hand tightly, trusting me to protect him, to guide him, to survive. The location was an abandoned warehouse on the edge of the Thames. I parked the car in the shadows and approached cautiously, Aiden leading the way. Inside, it was dimly lit. Figures moved silently. And then I saw him, Daniel. He looked exhausted, but alive. His eyes met mine, and for a moment, the world outside disappeared. Everything that had terrified me, every chase, every secret, every lie, vanished in the warmth of that gaze. "Amelia!" His voice was hoarse, filled with relief. "Daniel," I whispered, running to him. I could feel the weight of months of fear, confusion, and heartbreak lift slightly as I embraced him. Noah ran to his father and threw his small arms around him. "Daddy!" Daniel hugged him tightly, tears streaming down his face. "I'm so sorry, Noah. I'm so sorry for everything you went through." I pulled back, looking into his eyes. "Why didn't you tell me?" Daniel took a deep breath. "Because if I did, they would have come for us immediately. I couldn't risk your lives. I had to make sure you could follow the clues safely. I had to trust that you would understand when the time came." I swallowed, feeling a mixture of relief and anger. "Do you realize what you put us through?" "Yes," he said softly. "And I would do it again if it meant keeping you safe. But now, it's over. The documents are secure, the threats are neutralized, and we are finally together." Aiden stepped forward. "The people chasing him have been identified. Their operation has been dismantled. You are safe now, but Daniel's actions were not just brave, they were life-saving." I looked at my husband, the man I thought I knew, and realized I had only scratched the surface of his courage, his sacrifice, and his love. Daniel held my hand. "Amelia, everything I did for you and Noah. I never wanted to hurt you. I wanted to protect you from the truth until the moment you could handle it." I nodded, tears spilling down my cheeks. "I understand now. I see everything you did, and I forgive you." Noah looked between us and smiled. "Can we go home now?" Daniel laughed softly, relief breaking through the tension. "Yes, sweetheart, we're going home, together." On the drive back, I reflected on the journey. The ticket to London had seemed ordinary, a simple piece of paper, but it had led me into a world I never imagined, a world of danger, secrets, and unimaginable bravery. And through it all, I realized something profound. Love isn't just about trust. It's about sacrifice, courage, and the willingness to protect one another, no matter the cost. When we finally arrived at our new home, safe and free from danger, Daniel took my hand again. "We start fresh," he said. "Yes," I agreed, holding Noah close. "A new beginning." And for the first time in months, I felt the weight of fear lift. We were alive, together, and stronger than ever. The truth had been revealed. The secrets had been faced. And the future, uncertain, yes, was ours to live, as a family. London had tested us, danger had challenged us, but love had saved us. And that was the greatest secret of all.